Well, there's some stuff to talk about today. I've seen an interesting clip with Chappell Roan. Every time I see her name, Chappell, I always want to call her Chappelle. Probably because I'm a Dave Chappelle fan. So I see that, and minus the E, it looks like Chappelle. But her name's Chappell, right? Chappell Roan. She did an interview, and I seen a clip of her speaking on Reddit. And I thought she was bold-faced lying. Listen, if you don't want to do something, just say that. If you don't want to be informed or if you're not informed, just say that. Don't say, I ain't got the time. Especially when on the other side of things, Macklemore was doing an interview on Democracy Now! And he basically laid out how when a musician's on tour, all you have is time. And I've heard that before. You have a lot of time on the road. So you have time to get educated. What's up, Alyssa? At your consultation. Chappell Roan versus Macklemore. All I gotta hear what this is about. What's up, Doreen? Tarouche. Fought my 3 amateur bout. Won by a choke. Good for you. Toothpick in the house. You're cool as Mel. Hello, Doreen. Good to see you, and we have to have you back on. Here on YouTube, we're going to work on international relations. I say, fuck them people in charge. Us, the people, will work out the international relationships. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Alyssa, deep breaths. Deep breaths. You can do this. Oh, you're going for surgery. Okay, consultation for surgery. Well, see what they have to say, and my best advice is ask a lot of questions. Tell them how scared you are. Listen, when I go somewhere and I'm scared, that's the first thing out of my mouth. Listen, I am terrified right now. How do you get to be at ease? So let them know all that. You got to be your own advocate. So yeah, Chappell Roan. I gotta full disclosure here. I don't know who she is. I know of her. I know she's a pop star. I know she was on SNL or whatever. I couldn't tell you what she sings. I could not tell you one song by that girl. I don't think she'd be my style. I asked somebody at work, I said, is she the new Lady Gaga? Is that who Chappell Roan is? Is she like the new Lady Gaga? She looks like she's always dressed up. Speaking of French being in the house, what's up to all my French homies? Doreen. She looks like she's dressed out of like some Les Mis 17th, 18th century French boudoir pictures. Are those what they're called? You know what I'm talking about. But that's what Chappell Roan looks like to me. It looks like she was auditioning to be King George III. So I don't know her from, a hole in the wall. I really don't know who she is. But I know of her. I'm aware of her. I know kids probably like her. I know young folks probably like her. So I am not here to critique Chappell Roan's music. I am here to critique her ideology. That's what I'm going to go for. All right? Because she's a liar. She went on this podcast, the Call Me Daddy podcast, dumbass name. Don't know anything about that. Oui, monsieur. She does. They say she's your favorite drag queen singer. Oh, interesting. So is that her look, like drag queen? Because she nailed it. Bro got trapped on Diddy party car? What? Yeah, I don't know her music. I could not tell you if her music is good, bad, or otherwise. And I don't really care to know it. But what bugged me is that she influences people. Okay, I know that for a fact. I know that you don't get to that stardom without having some influence on people. And she did this interview on the Call Me Daddy podcast where she laid out. I put a link. Everything I plan on talking about, I link down in the description. So please, read it, watch her interview. It's fascinating to watch people, especially people who are thrust into a spotlight and maybe are still she is still very young and are figuring out their way. So this isn't really me going after Chappell's ideology. I just want to point out that number one, she's a liar. And number two, here's my advice to her. That's what I feel like I'm indebted to these younger folks. I feel like I'm indebted to give some advice and take it for what it's worth. It ain't cost you nothing. I do it for free here. So you can, parlez-vous français? Solus, what's up? What's the podcast? It's called Call Me Daddy podcast. I linked a USA Today article about what she said. Now, let me go into what she said. So Chappell Roan on the Call Me Daddy podcast is probably some like girl power, girl boss podcast. I don't know. I don't listen to it. But when she was asked about like her political opinion, she said, I don't have the answers. Why are people coming to me for the answers when it comes to politics? She said, I don't have time to be informed, essentially. Again, I'm paraphrasing. She said, and then she started listing. She was like, I'm touring, I'm performing, I'm writing, I'm sleeping. And then she was like, and I have to eat. And you could tell like she was trying to come up with shit. But here's the thing. Just as a broad statement, Chappell Roan saying like, I don't have time is a bold-faced lie. And I linked the interview with Macklemore. If you don't know him, he's a white rapper out of the Bay Area, but I think he's from Seattle. I'm confused. I think his home is Seattle, but he got bigger in the Bay Area. He did the Thrift Store rap song. He recently did Heinz Hall, and he did the Effed Up song. All great music. You should definitely listen to it. It's definitely politically motivated. He's like, the only person that's got Rage Against the Machine lyrics in 2025, 2024. So Macklemore just did an interview almost at the same time that Chappell Roan was doing this podcast, right? And in that interview with Democracy Now!, which I watched, I love Democracy Now!, link down below, Macklemore was stating to Democracy Now!, they were like, how did you get involved in this? Why did you write this song, Heinz Hall? Like, what got you educated? And he was like, well, listen, let's be very honest. He goes, when you're on tour, and these are, again, paraphrased, but almost a direct quote. Macklemore said, when you're on tour, outside of that hour and a half of performing, he said, you have the rest of the day to do nothing. He was like, because you're just touring from city to city. He's like, so outside of like driving on the bus and performing, there's not much else you can do. It's not like you're filled with meetings 24 hours a day. He said, outside of that hour and a half I perform, Macklemore said, that was the time I decided to educate myself and look things up and talk to people and research things and find out this and find out that. So literally, while Chappell Roan saying, why are people looking at me for an opinion and answers when it comes to politics? I don't have the time. There is another artist who, I don't know if he's bigger, but he's definitely as big. Maybe not at this moment, but he definitely has that level of fame. Macklemore saying, that's all you have is time. When you're on tour, all you have is time. So she's just easily, the claim that she doesn't have time is just easily disproven. But I want to get into something bigger, even bigger than that she lied on that podcast. And you could tell, because if you watch the podcast or if you see this clip, it's on Reddit. I linked a clip down below. If you see this clip of her, when she keeps saying eating, she keeps saying like one of the things that makes her so busy is like she has to remember to eat. It's like, bitch, what are you doing? Having a 16th century fucking French feast every time you eat? Is it being laid out by peasants? Like, I know you're dressing up like that, but seriously, this is not, the 18th century of France where you're laying out duck l'orange, and all these different entrees and 7-course meal. It's not that big a deal. We get that you like ran out of stuff that you do and you realized your excuse was not valid. But she also thinks people are looking, Chappell Roan is thinking that people want her to have an answer. And that's not the truth. I want to dispel this. Because even when I come at Dave Grohl and I come at a lot of celebrities, what people want is the people they love to be informed. They want the people that they look up to, that create art in our day and age, they want them to have an opinion. They don't want answers. They're not looking for Chappell Roan to solve society's issues, but they want her to stand on the right side of shit. That's why, because it's hard, aka if you like Kid Rock, you probably like him for his opinions. Now, I hate Kid Rock. I liked his music at one point, but once I found out his opinions, I said, F him. And there are some artists that are just content whores. The Ryan Seacrest. They'll say and do anything because it just brings them more money, and they'll toe the line. The Dave Grohls, he'll say, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. When you come to my concerts, everybody's singing Learn to Fly. And it's like you're emboldening Nazis at that point. You're emboldening hate groups. Because hate groups are going to listen to your music. And if you don't tell them, like Nirvana did, like Dropkick Murphys did, when they said Dropkick Murphys just a couple weeks ago at St. Paddy's Day, their concerts, they called the MAGA fans out that were being arrogant in the crowd. you know, and people want the people that they look up to, because I'm guessing Chappell Roan has a lot of young girls who are fans. They want her to just, you know, be informed. Like at that level, I think it's almost a duty to yourself to be a little bit informed. Now, if she doesn't want to be, which it seems like that, she wants to say, like, I don't have time to know what the fuck's going on. That's fine. She's young, you know? But just say that. Self-research usually results in the stereotypical Facebook mom research. Jimmy Leader Jake, you're not totally wrong. But have you heard Macklemore's song, Heinz Hall? I mean, he researched enough to write a pretty sick verse, or a few verses. It's a shorter song. But Kid Rock does not love America. He thinks you're a sucker, Undersky. I hate to break this to you. I'm going to be very honest. Just so you know, when Kid Rock did that whole performative art piece of shooting the Bud Light cans, YouTubers went to his bar in Nashville and he was still selling Bud Light. So he'll make a buck off you any day of the week. And that's what people want to avoid. They want to know that when they're buying an album, when they're paying to stream somebody, that they're not paying someone who's going to treat them like a sucker. That's why the Logan Paul brothers are only popular with children, young children, because the Paul brothers will rip off anybody who trusts them enough to give them money. And that's what people really want to avoid. They don't want to feel like a sucker because they liked somebody's art and they're funding, you know, somebody who's willing to oppress them or take advantage of them. And that's really, yeah, Undersky, look it up. It is very sad because people, and here's the thing, Undersky, it's not your fault you believed him. You know, he tricked you. Kid Rock treated everyone like a sucker. He was like, I'm going to capitalize on this moment. I'm going to get more people to buy my stuff because I'm going to shoot up a bunch of cans. But YouTubers went to his Nashville bar and were like, guys, he's playing you. He's still selling Bud Light at his bar. Like, if you were really boycotting it, you wouldn't buy it and then shoot it. You would stop. You'd say, here's an announcement. We're not holding it at my bar. But he didn't. Because he's a grifter, you know? And there's a lot of those on the right, and there's a lot of those on the left. And that was the other thing Chappell Roan said. She said, I disagree with both sides. I don't want to endorse anyone, which I endorse that. I don't like Kamala or Trump. But the thing is you can still have an opinion, you know? Like, my thing is, like, the top cop, Kamala, had been promising to decriminalize cannabis for years, and it never was going to happen. She's a liar. I don't think the top cop from California should be the president. We don't need cops as president. We don't need CEOs as presidents. CEOs look at everything as the bottom line and profit, and they just want to gut everything. That's what every business does nowadays. They don't care about people. CEOs and business leaders don't care about people. They care about profits. That's why they went into business. And a government has to care about its people. That's why it's for and by the people. But you can have that opinion. And I encourage Chappell Roan, please. Your look is fascinating, you know, and have something behind that. Have something to say behind that. And the thing is don't say you don't have time, because Macklemore on his interview with Democracy Now! Is like, all you have is time. When you're on tour, you perform for an hour and a half, and the rest of the time you're just sitting there. You're looking for stuff to do. So Chappell, people aren't coming to you for answers. They're coming to you for your opinion. They want to know, because that's the other part of this. Like, you want to know, when you're paying for a Chappell Roan shirt, is that shirt going to somebody who, you know, supports like causes? Is that money going to somebody who, you know, isn't going to turn around and hope to oppress me or underpay me or exploit me? And you see that right now. Donald Trump, he's selling a Bible, a guitar. This guy's never read the Bible, doesn't know the guitar, never played the guitar. He's selling it because he knows people trust him enough that they'll buy it, that he can grift these people. He can't grift people that don't like him, so he goes, the people that love me won't even question it. I'll sell them everything. It's like, remember those fancy plates back in the day that you have to call into the TV station, the QVC or whatever? You buy the plates with the Dale Earnhardt Jr. head on it. It's like they knew that these people were so blindly in love that they would spend any amount of money, even if it was a plate that you never used, because you couldn't eat off Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s face. And I'm just making, I don't know if that's, America loves a grifter. That is like, that should be our on our flag. You know, somebody taking money out of somebody's pocket when they're not looking. A seagull should be our national bird. We shouldn't have the eagle. We should have a seagull. Work was rough today. These sellouts don't stop. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, Undersky. Soulless. Someone sent Discord links and another stream I'm mod for. Ban them and delete. Good for you doing that mod work. Darlene, hold on. She can't say that she's engaged as an artist and then doesn't have the time to inform herself. Very true. Well, and that's really what bugged me, because it's like George Carlin did say it best. Please, I've posted, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I posted my community post. I posted some Carlin this weekend. I try to keep people informed. I posted more about the taxes that are going to be implemented here in the U.S. But yeah, and here's the thing. If you're in music, music is all political. All art is political. I just saw a great interview with Hosier, that UK artist who did the Take Me to Church, and he was on some late night show, and he said something like, I think all art is inherently political. And he made a great point. He said, when a young child draws their home, he said that inherently is political. It tells you so much about their background. If they're drawing their home and it's an apartment building, or if they're drawing their home and it's, with grandparents, or if they're drawing their home and it's, whatever. And I thought that is so brilliant. And I believe that too. I believe you can't make art without having politics in it, because politics is life. People have been trained to think politics is something that suit and tie men do at a very fancy building where you have to, go through a security detector to get it. That's not politics, man. You don't go to school for politics. You don't, you can study it, but you don't go to school to be a politician. You can't, we don't breed politicians. Politicians in America are supposed to be from the community, for us, by us, whatever. Most of the politics now are grifters and lawyers and people who have been so wealthy their whole life they can afford to be a politician. And that's wrong. That shouldn't be how it is. And even if Chappell Roan said something like that, that would be encouraging. Because she said she disagreed with both sides. But what do you disagree with, Chappell? Come on. Let us know. And I think the more important thing is people look to people like that, right? Who have such a big platform to use. Like, this is why I really don't like Dave Grohl anymore. He has a huge platform, and he could speak out and influence millions of people to think healthcare is a right or whatever. And Joe Rogan, if you like Joe Rogan, I hate him. I think he is a poison to our society. He climbed the ladder from supposed middle class and kicked it out behind him. But Joe Rogan does that all the time, and he's not a politician. He's a comic, and I say that very loosely. His comedy is not funny, but he claims to be a comic and a podcaster. And somehow, because he embraces the right-wing billionaire oligarchs, people accept that from him, and then if Taylor Swift says something, they get upset, obviously, because they're sensitive and they can't take a difference of opinion. But it's like they embrace Joe Rogan. Why? Because he says all the oppressing, exploitative bullshit that the oligarchs want. And Joe Rogan isn't some fucking Noam Chomsky. He ain't some philosopher or some well-educated, understood man. He's just some bogus, probably racist asshole. He was in that old show, News Radio. I also make videos, no pressure. What do you make videos on, Undersky? I used to enjoy Rogan before I got sober. Well, listen, Rogan used to be a different cat. And then he got that $100 million and a lot changed. A lot, But it's unfortunate because Rogan will use his platform to hurt people. He's platforming Elon Musk. He's platforming Elon Musk tech bros and all these right-wing, neo-Nazi adjacent people. The people that are willing to exploit and grift and do all this stuff or push fake news or misinformation or mislead the people. And he's willing to do that. So that's why I think people ask Chappell Roan, what's your point of view? Because they're hoping, well, you seem like you're pretty cool. You seem like you have compassion and empathy, the thing that Joe Rogan and Elon Musk think we have too much of, and that's destroying things. Right. Because, when Jesus was like, help the sick and weak, but don't have empathy doing it. That's what the right believes in. Jesus Christ. But, Russell Brand, another comic who went totally grifter once he got, alleged sexual assault allegations, alleged allegations. Once he had the sexual assault allegations, he went totally, he was like, I found Jesus, everybody. And the right wing scooped him up and were like, he's an important voice. And it's like, he's just a fucking movie star and comic, you know? But so people ask Chappell, if you're watching this, hit subscribe and the notification bell. I'm Rob and I go live 5 days a week and I'm trying to give you some advice. You need good people in your life. You need a mentor. You need good parents who can pull you aside and say, listen, you're very important right now and this time might be up soon. So don't regret not saying something, you know? It's like people don't look back and go, I'm really glad that like I didn't say anything when people were being hurt, and I'm glad I cashed in on that money that I can't take with me when I die. It's like people want, because the right is so willing to boost a fucking guy who sewed pillows. You know, Donald Trump was willing to buddy up with a guy who sewed pillows. My pillow guy, Mike Lindell. Where is that freak of nature right now, you know? They were willing to hold him up like he was some important voice and give him a platform and put him on Fox News all the time. But whenever somebody does it that could help the working class, that could help working people, that could help the disenfranchised, the most vulnerable, the people that have been marginalized, you know, they despise it, or they tell them stay uneducated, or aren't you uneducated, or they try to question everything. And why do you think? Because the machine is funded and built by billionaires. Landscape nature videos for fun. Oh, that sounds awesome. Under Sky, what kind of landscape and nature? What part of the country are you in? Please tell me Pacific Northwest, because I love that landscape there. But Chappell people aren't looking to her for her to solve things. They want her, if they probably believe she has a good opinion on things, that if she's creating that kind of art, that, you know, she's compassionate and willing to stand with those who have been outcast or ostracized. So they probably just want her to use that platform. But this is like the double-edged sword. If you're Kid Rock and a grifter, a right-wing grifter, the little media exposure that you can get in the right-centric circles, they'll give it to you all day long. They'll put you on Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro. They, you know, like they'll do the tour with you. But if you're on the left will say like, why are you coming to me for an opinion, or won't speak up. There are people that do, like the Dropkick Murphys, said they're for the American workers, they're for American businesses. That's why all their merch is made in America, and proudly says it on the back. And then at the concert they said to the guy, pull your Trump MAGA shirt out and let's see where it's made, and it said Nicaragua. And they just proved like he's a grifter. He doesn't give a shit about American workers. Just look at what Trump appointed. Another article down below. Oh, down in Florida, most eastern part of Florida, hugging the state of Georgia. Oh, you're down by where my brother's at. Gators. My brother just sent me a video of a bald eagle down there, which I did not know Florida had bald eagles, which is cool. That's a great area to have a nature channel. That's pretty cool. So the other thing is Trump just appointed a lawyer to head the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, that is in charge of workers' rights and your ability to organize and unionize. And his appointment, Crystal Carey, I think her name is, I linked it down below. Trump's appointee worked for a law firm that is one of the most notorious union busters. They are anti-worker. They are ones that fought against workers' rights, and it's just hysterical that people support Trump and think he's for workers, but then every move and action he makes is to strip you of your rights, to make sure that you have no power in the workplace. And there's some backlash. The Teamsters are doing some backlash. The unions are upset because, you know, remember, workers' rights here in America were fought for, and they were written in blood. That means people died, workers died, children were in mines. You know, there's a long storied history of workers fighting to the death for their rights as a worker, the rights you and I enjoy, being able to have a safe workplace, being able to organize, to have a union. those rights, and we don't even have a quarter of the rights that the European Union has. That's why we gotta have Doreen. I gotta connect with you on Discord. We got a plan for you to come on. I would like you to talk about some of just the normalities of living in France when it comes to paid time off or maternity time or trying to think your health care, just so people can hear about it. Because I think Americans are so in a bubble, they think, well, this is how the world is, and you have no clue. So Doreen, I'm gonna reach out because Doreen's great. She gives great insight. She's smart, witty, funny, and she obviously has given us the time before she came on last year. So we gotta have Doreen back on to educate the Americans on how it can be done, But those rights, workers' rights, are written in blood, man. And just know, if you support Trump, he don't support you unless you're a private equity hedge fund manager. then he wants you to donate some money to him. The other thing I linked down below, because I was arguing with this one dude online, because I just had it. Mental health is in decline. I've had it with these fucking people defending billionaires not paying their fair share of taxes. And this guy was like, yeah, I said, tax wealth, not work. We need to tax wealth. People have so much wealth now that it's unfathomable. Most people just defend it. They don't even understand how much wealth they have. Like, you could tax them at 90% and they'd never go broke. Look at Elon Musk. He drove Twitter into the ground. He lost billions. He lost more than most people earn in lifetimes. And he's still not broke. He won't go broke. This guy can't go broke. That's why he's bribing Wisconsinites to get a Trump judge in. That's why he's openly corruptly, putting money incentives inside for what people would vote on in this Wisconsin election. It's absolutely bold-faced corruption. It's out in the open. It is heinous and worth more than the nation of South Africa. Yeah, well, this I mean, like, it's so much money. You can't, it's hard to even fathom. But I also put a link down below because this one dude was like, what, do you want to confiscate all their wealth? And I was like, no, you idiot. But if you just want to look at history, when most of these middle-aged white guys talk about good old America, they're talking about the 50s. They're talking about, like, pre-civil rights 50s America. And what they don't remember, or they seem to neglect, is that in the 40s, in 1944 here in America, the top tax rate was 90%. In the 40s and 50s, America's corporate tax for businesses and for wealthy people was 78 to 90%. That means they got taxed after a certain amount of money on 78% of that. And now today it's at 37%, and most of them don't even pay that. They claim losses or unrealized gains or whatever, and they don't even pay a quarter of it. And that's how we have this great wealth inequality. That's why egg prices cost so much. That's why rent is unaffordable. It's because these billionaires have loopholed their way or just flat out not paid their taxes, and there's no IRS to go after them. How can you go after a team of, a billionaire's team of lawyers? And they've scapegoated their way out of it, and then they've used that money to reinvest into buying politicians, buying elections, buying the laws. And that's what it is, folks. I mean, it's right in front of you. It's happening right now in Wisconsin. But I wanted to remind people that here in good old America, we used to have bigger taxes, and it's just been whittled away. And how you pay for from the roads to the fire department is through the taxes. And when people don't understand that Trump is taxing the working class more, but more importantly, he's not taxing the wealthiest people. And it doesn't make sense. We need to tax wealth because working people don't need more taxes taken out. Working people need that money because working people make up 70% of the economy. Working people, when we get paid, we invest. In the economy, we don't invest. We invest it back into other workers. We go around, we spend that money. We are the ones that make the economy go. Jeff Bezos can only buy so much stuff off his own goddamn platform. He's not sitting there ordering stuff on Amazon just so he's got good numbers. Like, these people have so much wealth and they're taking it outside of our country. So if we can at least tax that, we could afford universal health care. We can afford to fight back all of this stuff, these lost wages, these stolen wages. We can do it, folks, but we need to come together. And that's why I say hit subscribe. Hit subscribe if you're done with this government in whole. F the government, man. We need to take this back. There should be wealth limits for people running. There should be, we should be out in the street when billionaires are corrupting the elections, when they're giving people architizing. That's a cool name. Hello. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I am Rob. I do a live news commentary. I call it Newsmentary every weekday. Every weekday. We're talking about Chappell Roan and Macklemore, and I got off on a little side tangent. But Chappell Roan, I don't know much about her, but I just hope, my advice to you, Chappell, because you're a young kid and you got the limelight right now, is take some of that time on tour and get educated. That's all. And people aren't coming to you for answers. When they ask you what you think about something, they're not looking to turn around and go, Chappell Roan's law. They're not doing that. They want your insight, You obviously have a voice because you made it big. Now put the brains behind the voice. You can do it, Chappell. I believe in you. And I don't even know what her policy beliefs are. I don't even know what her ideas are. I just say, stop hiding behind I don't have time. Because what that tells a lot of people is you have the luxury to not care. And that's really what it comes down to, What Chappell Roan and a lot of artists are saying when they don't comment or they say, why are you coming to me for answers? I don't have the answers, or I don't know. What they're saying is like, wealth has protected me. My money has protected me from caring what healthcare is doing to the working class, from people dying when we have the medical technologies, from people losing their homes and rent rising. What they're saying, what Chappell is saying is like, I'm so wealthy, that doesn't affect me. I don't care. That's what she's saying, and that's what bugged me. And that's what I'm sure bugged a lot of people. Can't stop poor. I earned what I have. No one else deserves to reap my benefits but me. Nobody's saying you didn't earn what you had, but let's say can't stop core. I don't think you paved the roads. I don't think, you birthed yourself. I mean, these self-made people can be irritating at times because nobody's talking about, reap benefits from what you've done. What we're saying is like, if you're a billionaire, you're not doing it by yourself. And more importantly, like, the whole point of a society, a community, is to make sure everyone isn't struggling, especially in America. Like, the threat you distilled from what I was saying, like, oh, I earned what I have, you're not gonna take my stuff. It's like, calm down. No one's trying to make you poor. What we're saying is, if you work for a living, you shouldn't be taxed more. That the billionaires should be taxed more because they can pay into the system more. They use more up of our resources. And more importantly, they have the wealth to not ever even be affected. They don't have to worry about price of eggs. I said there should be a limit on wealth if you're running for politics. That's what I was talking about. And I think if we have a minimum wage, here's the other thing. I'll give you this. I have no problem with that. But I was talking about if you're running for politics, there should 100% be a limit on wealth. And I think once you hit $999 million, I think there should be 100% tax on that. And I know this is the delusion a lot of people live under. They're like, well, if I get there, I don't want people taking my billions. And it's like, calm down. You're not going to fucking do it, okay? But I do think if we have a minimum wage, there should be a maximum wage. The CEO at my company, I make $4 an hour after they take out my healthcare, so I make $100 a week. The CEO at my company was there for 4 months. He's a new CEO, 4 months, got paid $100 million. I think if we're going to have a minimum wage, we should have a maximum wage. These people can't be paid. They're all buddy-buddy. The last CEO got an $8 million sign-on bonus, just taking the job, right in his name. He got $8 million, and he plummeted the stock. He did a horrible job, and he still got millions of dollars. So there should be a 100% maximum wage. A mooch on society? Jeez, like, a mooch on what? Do you fucking pave the road you go to work on? Like, this is just childish. The difference is he's a CEO. Tell me what he does. Tell me if he came into work. Tell me if your CEO came into work. This is what I address all day. These people who defend CEOs, like chief executive officer, has some magical thing to it. You know, he's not smart enough. His resume didn't get him there. Like, these people are just paid for nothingness. If he doesn't show up, the company still functions. You got to get out of the bootlicking mindset. You got to stop defending these people, because these people are there to exploit you, the people you love. Maybe you don't love anybody, but that's fine. But they're still, their job is to exploit you, to extract as much as they can from your labor. So they're not good people, and you can defend them all day, but this isn't going to be the live stream for you. Just letting you know. And hopefully more people wake up to what you're putting on full display, you know, that when I'm a billionaire, no one's taking my billions. It's like, you know, 1 in 5 kids in America goes hungry. 1 in 5 in America is food insecure, and you're just okay with that. I guess they're mooches for wanting free lunch. And that's the thing, is we found out that high taxes work, not only in the 40s and 50s here in America, link down below, but the other part of this is in Massachusetts. We put in a millionaire's tax, and guess what? Every kid that goes to school in this state gets a free lunch. If you're an adult, want to get your bachelor's degree at a community college, you can do that. These taxes work. It's just proven. It is proven. So people that defend it off these hypotheticals are really just drama mamas, and I don't know if they want to lord over that I'm better than you because I have more money, or if they just like that kids go hungry and people can't afford stuff and healthcare is horrible. I don't know what it is, whether it's sadomasochistic or it's just the ego, but it's sad either way. You know, because when I was making a lot of money, like, that's really what drove me to help other people. It's like, I was okay, and I had the ability to help others. But to each their own. I don't know. The American dream today was the status quo in the 50s. House, family, livable wage. That's right, Zeal. Zeal is real fan. And guess what the tax rate was? You can look at the link down in the description. In the 50s, it was about 78% for the wealthiest. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's changed. Deregulation, not taxing wealth. We need to tax wealth, not work. If you work every day, you get up and go to work, Trump raised taxes on you, and he's planning to do it again. And they need to stop taxing us when they could get all that money from one billionaire. And these people are avoiding their taxes, you know, or paying like a 3% tax rate, or saying they got losses and they can't pay taxes, or my stocks haven't been realized yet. So there's so much shit that we need to fix, and we can do it. We got to come together, though. We got to have this discourse. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I am Rob. I do news commentary every day. Chappell Roan, please, you know, I hope she hears this. Send this to her if you know her. Because I believe she could, you know, people want to see people with a platform use that voice, not just stay silent. But maybe she's just into, you generalize wealthy people with government. You understand there's a billionaire, this Trump administration is all billionaires, and Elon Musk a billionaire. They're all running the government. So what's the difference? What is the difference? Mel, thank you. It's a daily dose of common sense. You do understand everyone in the government is worth, if not millions, billions. This is the richest administration in history. And this guy's like, you're generalizing them. It's like, no, this is just, again, it's fucking facts, man. Just look it up. Go look at Trump's inauguration. There was a bunch of tech oligarch bros, billionaires, all lined up to donate to him. Oh, it's exhausting. But okay, live in your fantasy world of like, no, man, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I love it. This dude can't stop is like, no, everything is fine. People just voted an election for the price of eggs, but everything's fine. All right, guys, much love, much respect. Hit subscribe. Peace.